Hi,
Hi.
my name is Carl.
Okay. It's nice to meet you, Carl. I'm Priya.
So it's your first time here at the guidance office?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
I haven't come in yet.
Okay. So before we get started, I want to go over our consent form.
Okay.
Would you like to, we can read it together? I can just read it to you.
I mean, we could read it together.
Okay. So it just says, thank you for participating in a 20-minute mock video recorded interview assignment. During the mock interview, you will be asked to play the role of a service user, who is fictional but believable, to assist me in practicing social work interview skills. The video equipment will be facing me as the social worker, but your voice will be recorded. Following the recording, I will be transcribing a 10-minute segment verbatim in order to reflect and analyze my interview skills and role as a social worker.
Okay.
Your signature here acknowledges that you consent to participating in the mock interview and grant your permission for me to transcribe and submit both the process recording and video footage to my course instructor in order to be reviewed and evaluated. Impartial requirements for SWRK3001 Social Work Communications course. I will say that sometimes role plays can trigger emotional responses in participants, so if this does happen, let me know so we can discuss it and also possibly refer you to student support services.
Okay.
If imminent harm to self or others or risk to children under the age of 16 are disclosed, I'm legally required to report to authorized bodies.
Okay.
Okay, and then the video recording and transcription both will be erased by the day after the assignment.
Okay. Yeah, great.
So if you agree with that, you can sign that.
Thank you. Okay.
Awesome. Okay. So I guess I'll just start out by asking what brought you here today, because you asked me for an appointment. What's been going on?
Well, lately I've sort of just been stressed out about things in general, and I've sort of just felt worried all the time. I don't know. I felt like this was a pretty accessible way of getting counseling is going to the guidance counselor.
Yeah, for sure.
So
absolutely.
I don't know. I've just felt sort of weird lately, sort of off.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that you view the guidance office as a viable resource for you. So you're saying that you're feeling weird and off.
Yeah.
So your behavior and attitudes are deviating from the normal.
Right, yeah.
Can you kind of expand more on that?
Well, I don't know, like lately I've been sort of, I don't know, because it's grade 12, you know, it's getting pretty serious. I have to worry about, you know, what school I'm going to go to next, because my parents expect that I go to probably university or college or something, and I'm not quite sure what I want to do, and I'm also, well, I guess I can tell you, I guess I can trust you. I'm worried about how my parents will react if I tell them about my sexuality and gender. I'm actually non-binary and pansexual.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what to expect if I came out to them.
Okay. May I ask what pronouns you use?
Oh, I go by they and them pronouns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So that's a lot. That's a lot to be dealing with, especially in your last year of high school. It's definitely a stressful time, thinking about that transition period to university. So you identify as non-binary and pansexual. Is that is that a or should I let me rephrase? Are you publicly out?
I mean, I'm out to most of my friends, and I feel like a lot of people around the school know that I'm non-binary, especially. I've got a pretty good group of friends who I'm out to, for sure, so...
That's good.
Yeah, I'm out to a lot of my peers. Yeah.
Okay. So you have a support system at school?
Yeah, I'd say so. I've got a pretty good group. It's sort of a small group. It's only a few people, but I trust them pretty well, yeah.
That's good. That's important. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you're thinking about coming out to your family, and you're not sure how to go about it or how it's going to go over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a big a big worry for a lot of people, for sure. Could you possibly kind of describe your relationship with the family members that you're considering coming up to?
Well, for the most part, I live with my direct family. I don't have any siblings, so we were pretty, we were pretty close in that sense, especially in throughout elementary school. But when I got into high school, I stopped talking to them about my, I don't know, my personal matters, because I was starting to realize that I was probably not, straight, and I probably wasn't cisgender, and so it was harder to talk to them about personal things. So I've sort of not had a very close relationship with them getting into high school. So it's a little bit strange right now at home in that sense.
Okay. So at one point in time, you were close with your parents, and you were able to sort of share things with them. And then moving into high school, that relationship started to shift and move more towards sort of keeping to yourself and not sharing parts of yourself with them. Do you have a sense of maybe what caused that shift?
I don't know. It's sort of been maybe because I was getting older, and because I'm sort of, I mean, I'm not an adult yet, but I'm sort of becoming an adult. It's harder to, I don't know, it's harder to deal with your parents if those expectations are getting higher and higher, like the expectation that I'm going to have to go to university or college, which is fair. I'm sort of interested in doing that, and I mean, I've got pretty good grades, so I could do that, but it's just like their expectations of me are so high. I'm worried about letting them down, especially in terms of, maybe they're expecting me to be, straight and maybe eventually end up in a relationship like that. And I don't know, that might not be my future. So it's those expectations that they have for me are kind of hard to meet in that sense.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay. Sort of shifting gears a little bit. So in school, you have a close group of friends. You're feeling confident, socially.
Yeah.
What sort of things do you do with your time?
Well, I usually just I'm pretty good about working on homework. Like, I don't go out to hang out with my friends super often, but we see each other, often enough to stay close. But I focus on my schoolwork a lot, and any extra free time I have at school, I help run the Gay Straight Alliance here, which we just started, and I'm sure you've heard about it, right?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
So I'm actually the secretary for the Gay
awesome.
Straight Alliance, which is it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I have attended a couple meetings myself.
Oh yeah.
It's an important group that I think is really great that our school has one.
Yeah.
So you were part of creating that group.
Yeah.
Okay.
My friends wanted to start it because me and one of my friends had gotten some homophobic comments in the school, and so we sort of needed a place where we knew we could be safe among each other.
Yeah, absolutely. So that sort of safe space, what does that mean for you?
I mean, it's really important because I've sort of talked about it. I don't really think I have that safe space at home. At least it's not very clear that could be there yet. So it's nice to have it in the school at least, and to be able to rely upon, during lunch periods, I can go there and feel all right.
Yeah, for sure. So to summarize, you're in grade 12, you're thinking about university and college, you're struggling a little bit with your sexuality and gender and the process of coming out. You're feeling confident at school with your friend group, even if some people can be ignorant.
Yeah.
What would you like to see happen? In our professional relationship. How can I help you achieve what you're wanting to see in your life?
I mean, I hadn't really thought it through that much, I guess, to be entirely honest. I thought, well, maybe going to a counselor, I could have someone, sort of outside of all these other situations I'm in, outside of all these other relationships to sort of help me walk through the process of doing certain things I want to do, like maybe figure out where I want to go to school, or if I want to go to school next year. I'm still not really sure about that, and especially one of the bigger things was figuring out, if and how I could come out to my parents.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are definitely issues that we can tackle together. Right. In your mind, what was like the issue you want to deal with first?
Probably the coming out would be better, because I mean, I can't imagine going into another year and having to hide myself, especially when, I'm going to be 18 next year. I'm going to be like a legal adult at least.
Yeah.
I want to be able to feel like I can begin expressing myself more fully around my parents at that point. So I think that would be a more immediate thing for me, at least.
Yeah, and also it ties in with the school thing, because if you're going to university or college, you want to be able to fully be yourself and not hold back parts of yourself from the new people and the new environments that you're in. Absolutely, that's super important. Okay, so coming out to your parents. When you think about like sitting down and having that conversation, that discussion with them, how does that make you feel? Like, what feelings come up for you?
I mean, primarily I feel anxious about it. Like, I feel it's hard to say, because my parents, they can be a bit traditional, a bit religious, but they're, I don't know, they're very I don't know, like their politics aren't particularly, I don't know, liberal or conservative. It's just sort of in between, and it's hard to say exactly which way they look at me coming out. So there's a lot of I'm unsure of how the situation would go, I guess would be the best way to put it. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any friends, maybe in school or elsewhere, that have already gone through the process of coming out?
Yeah, I do have one friend, and he's gay, and he came out to his parents, but we hadn't really spoken about it that much yet, so I don't know that much about it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. In my opinion, I think it's super helpful to talk to people who have already gone through experiences like coming out, in order to kind of get a sense of how that goes, and sort of the feelings that go along with that.
I mean, I guess I could talk to him about coming out, like to see how his experience was. It would probably be very different from mine. But,
oh yes, for sure.
That might be a place to start. I don't know.
I mean, I'm also more than happy to help facilitate that conversation if you need a space to talk to your friend.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
I mean, is there anything else? Let me see if I can think of anything else that I wanted to talk about. Did anything come up?
We talked about coming out to your parents. We talked about whether or not you'll be attending university or college.
Right, I forgot about that. Yeah, I mean, do you think you'd have resources that could sort of help me figure that out?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. In the office, we have like brochures from pretty much every school in the province and in the country. All the guidance counselors are trained on everything to do with university, especially for our grade 12 students, so we can definitely help you out with that. So you're not sure if you even want to go.
Yeah, I'm still not sure about it. Like, I do have the grades to support going to most schools, pretty much most schools, and my parents would be behind me 100%. You know, they both took nursing, and they really want me to attend specifically university as well.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's necessarily what I want to do. It's hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So is it safe to assume that if you're not sure if you want to go to university, if you do decide you want to, you're not sure about what program?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's a few things I've taken in high school, and they've sort of interested me, but nothing really has jumped out as something I want to do, you know, for the rest of my life, or at least studying for a certain amount of years, you know, like 2 or 3 or 4 years. It's hard to say specifically if there's one thing I'd want to do at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, something that comes to mind, because that's a common occurrence when you're in grade 12, the world seems to be opening up to you and you don't know what to do with it. Right. You can always take a gap year.
That's true.
Yeah, you could, and in that gap year, there's a whole bunch of options for you. You can come back to high school for another year. You can work. You can go into like a college or university, and then like go to another one afterwards.
That's true.
Or you can do nothing if you want to. So your parents want you to go to university. How do you think they would feel about you possibly taking a gap year if you're not entirely sure what you want to do?
I mean, they've always supported me, and in the sense of, you know, at the very least, if I'm going to be pursuing, you know, academic furtherment, they'd always be happy that I'm going to be doing it eventually. So maybe a gap year would be a good idea, so I can sort of figure out exactly what I want to do first, because I don't know, it's still pretty early in the school year, so I still do have a bit of extra time to figure this out, but maybe it would be less stressful if I did take that gap year. And I think they'd be, they might come around to that if I had that conversation with them. I can see them being all right with that, perhaps reluctantly, but I think they'd eventually come around on that idea. That might be a good idea, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that you are still optimistic and keeping your options open, regardless of any struggles you may be facing.
Yeah.
I'm also happy to hear that you are like interested in like making good decisions for yourself and surrounding yourself with people that are good for you and for your well-being, and that you're able to recognize that like you are the main authority on your life, and regardless of
that's true, yeah,
the expectations, you are the one who has to live your life, so you get to decide how it goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we've definitely covered a lot of issues. There's a lot of things going on in your life right now. If you're okay with it, I would like to meet with you again.
Yeah, I think I got a lot out of this, you know, meeting. I'd like to have one again soon, yeah.
Okay, good. Awesome, yeah. And we can talk more about the issues that you're currently facing, or if anything else comes up, we could talk about that as well.
Yeah.
And again, like I said before, if you're wanting to have that conversation with your friend about the processes of coming out, I'm happy to have that conversation in my office.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Well, it was really nice to meet you.
It was nice to meet you too,
I
Carl.
hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, okay, thank you.